Since the beginning of human civilization, the greatest minds of our race have been wondering about the nature of reality and the fabric of our universe. Evidence of the importance of sound, frequencies, and vibration can be found in almost all ancient civilizations and their spiritual and religious practices. Although this topic is almost completely neglected by modern scientists, there were a few great minds who understood our vibrational nature and the true power of these forces. We know that Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, and many others, through their studies, managed to discover and understand that everything is composed of energy, and through manipulating these subtle energetic forces, we could transform ourselves and everything around us. Among these great minds was a man who wanted to use these forces of nature to cure all diseases and increase the general health and longevity of humanity to a whole new level. His name was Dr. Royal Raymond Rייף, a scientist who not only built the first microscope to ever see a living virus or bacteria, but also cured 14 of the 16 cancer patients he treated in just a couple of months, using only the power of frequency and vibration. Dr. Rייf's discoveries were so profound that in 1931, a group of 44 scientists gathered to celebrate a revolutionary event they called the End of Diseases, saying that through Dr. Rייf's discovery, it would be possible to treat absolutely any disease with a simple frequency-based device. Welcome to our video on Dr. Royal Rייף and his incredible machine, which was able to cure any disease only through the power of frequency and vibration. Royal Raymond Rייף Jr. was born in Elkhorn, Nebraska on May 16, 1888. In 1905, at the age of 17, he graduated from high school and entered Johns Hopkins University to study medicine. His interest in bacteriology and the incredible breakthroughs he accomplished earned him a master's degree. In addition to his studies at Johns Hopkins, he also later attended Heidelberg University in Germany, where he personally developed all the photomicrographs for the Atlas of Parasites. For this accomplishment, he was even rewarded with an honorary doctorate in 1914. He later moved to San Diego, California, where he established his first research laboratory. It is reported that Rייf even worked with the United States Navy before and during World War I, and that he was commissioned as a lieutenant commander in the United States Naval Reserve. During the years prior to the Great Depression, Dr. Rייf apparently worked for both the United States government and the Carl Zeiss Optics firm, which is a German manufacturer of optical systems and optoelectronics. The technological inventions of Rייf were so advanced that they are still used today in the field of optics, electronics, radiochemistry, biochemistry, ballistics, and aviation. He was no doubt a man way ahead of his time. In the early years, the most powerful microscopes in existence could reach a magnification of 2,500 diameters. With these instruments, scientists could see mold spores, many parasites, and many bacteria, but no one had ever seen a virus. Rייf visualized, designed, and built a magnifying instrument that worked on a different principle than the existing microscopes of his day. In 1920, he built the first microscopes which were able to actually see a virus. The microscopes he built allowed him to watch a live virus and to observe it in its changing life forms. Rייf's technology far exceeded even today's electronic microscope, where all bacteria and viruses are killed to be able to be analyzed. Several famous physicians worked with him and his microscopes and confirmed the incredible effectiveness of his devices. Rייf was so dedicated that he would sometimes work for as long as 20 hours just to get a virus in focus. In 1933, Royal Raymond Rייf presented to the world the universal microscope, which was not only the most powerful optical microscope ever made up to that time, but it was also the most versatile. One of the most attractive features of this microscope was that, in contrast to the electron microscope, the universal microscope does not kill the specimen under observation and affords observation of natural living specimens in all circumstances. Rייף also built a special mount under the stage, through which he directed a powerful monochromatic beam from his patented lamp. At various declinations of the refracted and polarized ray, normally invisible bodies would become visible in a color peculiar to their structure or chemical makeup. All optical elements in this microscope were made of block crystal quartz, which permits the passage of ultraviolet rays. By this means, Rייף revealed that viruses and bacteria have a natural range of refraction to various light environments. This suggested that organisms could be classified, if not specified, by their index of refraction in the Risley prism under the universal microscope. Basically, Rייf's microscope not only could see the viruses, but it also saw the colors they emitted, and whenever viewing a specific color, Rייf would be able to specify or approximate the resonant frequency of the object being observed, just like viewing the aura of a human and determining his or her resonant frequency by it. This capacity to observe living bacteria and viruses allowed Rייf to make outstanding discoveries. He was the first scientist known to have isolated and photographed the tuberculosis virus, as well as many others. Eventually, he even succeeded in isolating a virus specific to cancer, which was possible because he could see a distinctive purple-red color emanating from this virus. Now that Rייf was able to detect and specify all these viruses responsible for some of the most horrible diseases, there was only one thing he needed to figure out, and that was how to destroy them and cure people. Owing to Nikola Tesla's studies, men of science had known of the connection of electrical, magnetic, and radio frequencies with the operation of the human body. So Rייf turned to electromagnetic frequencies. He discovered that each microbe and each virus had a particular frequency to which it was vulnerable. Rייf called this the mortal oscillatory rate, a term still used to this day. After his discoveries, Rייf would try out the removal of specific bacteria, viruses, and tumors from rats through the use of this electromagnetic frequency. His experiments were an amazing success, after which he tried this healing method on humans and was also successful. This earned Rייf great fame among the scientific community, and in June 1931, Popular Science magazine announced nationwide the discoveries of Royal Rייf and his efficient treatments. During this period of time, many articles and news stories appeared regarding these remarkable accomplishments. Physicians in the Southern California area began to hear of Rייf and his work. They came from all over the United States to observe what he was doing and verify his results. After this release in November 1931, Dr. Milbank Johnson invited 44 physicians to honor Rייf's work and declared the end of all disease. Dr. Royal Rייf was honored as the man who had discovered a way to end all disease at this meeting and was hailed as a hero. Finally, during 1934, a group of physicians led by Dr. Milbank Johnson of Pasadena, California, in an experiment that was sponsored by the University of California, brought 16 patients with cancer from a hospital in San Diego and placed them in apartments where they were observed and treated by the electromagnetic frequencies recommended by Dr. Royal Rייf. In just 3 months, 14 of the 16 patients were declared free of any cancer at that time. The other 2 required an additional month of treatment to be completely cured. After this monumental success, Dr. Royal Rייf made the following statement. With the frequency instrument treatment, no tissue is destroyed, no pain is felt, no noise is audible, and no sensation is noticed. A tube lights up, and 3 minutes later the treatment is completed. The virus or bacteria is destroyed, and the body then recovers itself naturally from the toxic effect of the virus or bacteria. Several diseases may be treated simultaneously. Rייf was hailed in the scientific and medical communities for his discoveries, and by 1937 he established a company called Beam Ray with several colleagues, and 14 of his machines were manufactured. So what happened? Why aren't these machines in every hospital and cancer treatment center in the world today? Simply put, the only cancer Rייף couldn't seem to kill was greed. After seeing the incredible success of Rייf's frequency healing machines, the head of the American Medical Association, a man named Morris Fishbein, immediately sent his attorneys to try to purchase the exclusive rights to the technology. Rייf, however, turned down his offer. Although no one knows the exact terms of the offer, it was probably similar to the one Fishbein made to Harry Hoxsey, a man who discovered an herbal remedy which destroyed cancer cells. Hoxsey himself traced the treatment to his great-grandfather, who observed a horse with a tumor on its leg cure itself by grazing upon wild plants growing in the meadow. John Hoxsey gathered these herbs and mixed them with old home remedies used for cancer. Not surprisingly, he was ridiculed, and the U.S. Department of Health even mass-printed warnings to the public stating it does not work, although Morris Fishbein himself admitted in court that the remedy worked on skin cancer. The deal offered to Hoxsey for the rights of his remedy stated that Fishbein and his associates would receive all profits for 9 years, and Hoxsey would receive nothing. Then, if they were satisfied that it worked, Hoxsey would begin to receive 10% of the profits. When Hoxsey refused, Fishbein used his political connections to have Hoxsey arrested 125 times in a period of 16 months. The charges, based on practicing without a license, were always thrown out of court, but Fishbein harassed Hoxsey for 25 years. In the end, Hoxsey's herbal cancer remedy was another suppressed healing method for cancer. Rייf knew that turning down a man like Morris Fishbein wasn't an easy thing. He was known as a man who would use all his powers to harass and eventually destroy countless scientific discoveries that could harm the wealth of a few powerful families such as the Rockefellers and those who controlled the pharmaceutical industry, which is worth billions. Rייf, just like Hoxsey, turned down his offer. Not satisfied for having his proposal denied, Fishbein allegedly financed one of the engineers who worked with Rייf to bring a lawsuit against him. That lawsuit was the beginning of the end for Rייf and his machines. Unable to withstand the attacks on his character and life's work in court, Rייf crumbled and turned to alcoholism. Despite the fact that he ultimately won his case, the legal costs bankrupted him, and his Beam Ray company went out of business. Even after the lawsuits, Fishbein, who still wielded all the power, hunted down any further proper scientific investigations into Rייf's breaking discoveries and his machines. Doctors that had previously supported Rייf suddenly fell silent. One of his partners, Arthur Kendall, all of a sudden retired to Mexico after receiving a magical gift of $250,000 in his bank account. Other doctors were given large grants and honors to keep their mouths shut and go back to prescribing the useless pharmaceuticals. Major medical journals, which are all predominantly funded by big pharma advertising revenues, refused to publish anyone's work involving Rייf's theories or his machines. As if all this persecution wasn't enough, Rייf's lab was also broken into, and documentation of his work, including photographs and even pieces of his microscopes, were stolen and vandalized. We saw the exact same persecution campaign against Nikola Tesla and his free energy research. We saw the exact same persecution campaign against Wilhelm Reich, the man who created the orgone accumulator, for which we dedicated an entire video. Both Tesla and Wilhelm Reich's labs were also vandalized and burned, together with all of the research. Rייf was the next victim of these giant corporations. They brought the end of Royal Rייf's discovery to cure cancer, and the police confiscated the rest of his research. There was nothing left of his research and machines. It was as if this groundbreaking discovery for humanity never even happened. And to this day, cancer is treated with super expensive chemotherapy treatment, which is harming the human body way more than it's healing it. Just imagine if Reif's discoveries had not been sabotaged. Where would we be now? Where could we have invested all the trillions of dollars used in extensive and expensive cancer treatments? And how many lives would have been saved? Cancer treatments have killed way more people than they've actually healed. Do you really believe the people in control want a healthy and growing population? If that was the case, then why are they fluoridating all water supplies? Why are they spraying our skies with chemicals? Why are they giving us genetically modified foods which contribute to the development of cancer? Even the animals raised for food have been stuffed with all kinds of hormones and chemicals. There is an evil agenda behind all of this, and it's up to us to end this. We could have free energy by now, but that would completely destroy the political and economic structure in which we're living. We could have Reif's frequency healing device, which could cure any disease without any pharmaceuticals. But a few greedy and powerful individuals prefer suppressing these technologies only to maintain wealth and control over humanity. Please share this video so that it reaches more people and it raises awareness. As George Orwell says, the masses never revolt of their own accord, and they never revolt merely because they are oppressed. Indeed, so long as they are not permitted to have standards of comparison, they never even become aware that they are oppressed. Thank you so much for watching.